And I want to say hello to my brothers and sisters there in the country of the Netherlands. My name is Joseph Collins, and for the last 11 years, it has been my privilege to serve here at Vida International, here in the Central American country of Honduras. Originally, I'm from the United States and from the state of California. But as I have said, I have been here in Honduras for the past 11 years, and it has been a blessing for me to be here and to serve the Lord. And He called me to be here like 12 years ago, 11 and a half years ago. And ever since I've been here, it's been a blessing. Even though there have been challenges, it has helped me to grow in my walk with Him. And so this is the second part of our training of the seminar. I am recording this on a Sunday, the very same day that I plan to be with you for at least an hour and a half online, I believe through Zoom. And so this is the second part in which we will be doing some demonstrations of poultices and decoctions, poultices and decoctions. And let's begin with poultices. And let's begin with a definition. What is a poultice? And I will try to edit this video and put the slides in there. What is a poultice? From 3 different dictionaries. The first one is from the Oxford Languages Dictionary. It says, a soft, moist mass of material, typically of plant material or flour, applied to the body to relieve soreness and inflammation and kept in place with a cloth. Another definition we get from Merriam-Webster, and it says a soft, usually heated and sometimes medicated mass spread on cloth and applied to sores or other lesions. And the next one we get from dictionary.com, and it is a soft, moist mass of cloth, bread, meal, herbs, etc., applied hot as a medicament to the body. And so I think you can see some similarities between these 3 definitions. And I'm hoping that through them, you can get a better understanding of what a poultice is. And I'm thinking that probably many of you already knew what it was. And so this just confirmed what you already knew. And another name for a poultice is a cataplasm. Cataplasm. In Spanish, they use the word cataplasmo. And in English, another word, of course, is cataplasm. And this word, it comes from the Greek word poltos, and it's also transformed in the Latin pols or poultice, meaning porridge. And you can think of porridge like in English, at least a lot of people would refer to oatmeal as being porridge. And so the mass that you would put inside of a poultice is kind of like oatmeal, moist, mushy, etc. Heat. Heat, of course, causes increases circulation to a particular area. And so if you have soreness, if you have inflammation to a certain area, a lot of times people would apply heat. And through that, they would increase the blood flow to that area. And by increasing the blood flow, they would speed up the healing of that, whatever is causing the pain. And also they need to be made when needed and not to be stored. So for any of these poultices, it is best if it is made fresh and not stored for, let's say, a week or 2 weeks or even a month. Store it maybe up to 72 hours. That's pretty much the rule that I have seen. And dealing with warm poultices, what is the benefit? We've already talked about that. And it also helps to calm the body. And it has a relaxing effect. We already talked about it stimulating the blood circulation, and it also increases the flow of lymph. So the lymph fluid is basically the fluid that is in between the cells. It would go into the lymph and so forth. It would pass through the nose of the body where detoxification and so forth takes place. And it will also enhances the body's oxygen supply. So these are some of the benefits of applying a warm poultice. So if you want to apply any of these poultices, if possible, try to warm it up before it is applied to the body, and that would help to increase the blood circulation to that area. All right, and with that, we are going to start some of the demonstrations of poultices. And so let us get started with that. All right, so the first demonstration that we are going to do, we are going to make a charcoal poultice with activated charcoal. So I have my bag here of activated charcoal. And if any of you have ever worked with this particular substance, you know that it can get very, very messy. I've tried my best to be as clean as possible, but you can see on my hands I have black, but that is normal. The grains are very, very fine. It's like baby powder, very, very light, and you can be as careful as you can, but many times you're going to make a mess. So I'll try as best as I can to be as clean as possible. I'm going to put some into this bowl. Don't want too much. All right, so I have a pretty good amount. I'll put it back here, and I will show you what I have in the bowl. I'm in a school now, and they're having Pathfinders. So if you hear some background noise, I apologize for that, but they're doing some training for the children. So you can see the amount that I have in here. And notice that I have a plastic spoon. I'm told that this works better than metal. And trying to be as clean as possible. I'm trying not to grip the bottle because my hands are black. My fingertips are. I'm going to put a little bit of water into the bowl. Put a little bit. Let's see how much, if that's enough, or if we need more. I'm going to take my spoon. I'm just going to start mixing. We want to make it into a nice paste. And I think I may have put too much water. I didn't think I put enough, but it looks like I may have put too much. That's fine. I'm going to continue to mix. And let's see how it comes out. You can test it. Maybe a fork will work better, or maybe a spoon. You be your own judge. I'm using a spoon, but try to make it plastic. I'm going to put a little bit more in. And we use this for inflammation. A lot of times it's used for inflammation. If there are no cuts or scars on the body, you can apply it directly to the skin. If there is a cut or a scar, then make sure you use a cloth. You put a cloth in between. If you do not, you could have a permanent mark on your skin. And so if you have been bitten by any type of animal or stung, you can use that as well. We have dogs here, as you can hear, so I apologize for that. And so I'm still mixing. I think I may need a little bit more. Try not to get myself dirty. Still need more. This is very, very fine. Again, this is activated charcoal. A lot of times they come from coconut shells. Sometimes they may come from different types of wood, but the type we have here comes from coconut shells, and they have a whole process that they apply lots of pressure and heat in order to get it to be as fine as possible. And so this is very, very fine, so that's good. I'll tell you a story while I'm mixing this. When I was at a institution in the United States in the southern part, training to be a missionary, and they have snakes there. And I saw someone there, he caught a snake. He used a stick and he trapped the head of the snake, and he picked the snake up and he removed it to another area. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. And one day I saw a snake and I got my opportunity to try to do the very same thing. And I did. And so from that time, I have, if need be, I've been able to trap snakes using a stick. I don't go looking for them, but if I come across one, then if it needs to be moved, then I will do that if I have a stick. But one time there was here in Honduras, there was a rattlesnake, and I don't know what got into my head, and we were looking at it. We were in the group, we were around it, and a very dumb thought came into my head, and so I tried to grab its head while it was looking in the other direction at someone else. And I grabbed it too far from its head, and so he turned around quickly and bit me. And so that I was shocked. It seemed like someone was trying to come into the door. Sorry. And I was like very, very shocked. It didn't hurt, but I was just stunned. I was like, oh no, that's a dangerous snake. What happened? Why did I do that? And so I immediately ran and put a charcoal poultice on. I made it, mixed it with water. I drank it. And I also made a poultice just like we're making here with tissue paper, and I wrapped it around the finger that had been bitten. And if you know about rattlesnakes, you know that they're poisonous. Sometimes dogs here have been bitten by it, and their skin starts to come off and so forth. It's a big affair. But because I did that and I did it quickly, nothing happened besides inflammation. So if you have been bitten by a snake or anything, if you have access to activated charcoal, I would say you definitely need to use that. It would definitely help. I'm a case study for that. And now that I have it, you can see that it's like a paste, and this is exactly how you want it to be. It is moist, so forth. And so what I'm need now is a bag, which I'm going to get, and then I will show you what to do from there. Hola, you can come in. Yeah, I'm just doing a recording here. I'll need you in about 2 minutes. I'm just showing them how to do the charcoal poultice. Okay, so I have the bag. So what I'm going to do, again, this is dirty. You can see the fine grains of the charcoal probably on this plastic bag, but I have this plastic bag. If you have a Ziploc bag, it works better. So I'm going to open this, and I'm going to put the charcoal in, and then you can see it's a very nice paste. I can turn it upside down, and it will not fall out, but it is moist. That's exactly how you want it. So I'm going to start putting it into the bag. I'm trying my best to scrape it out. It's thick. That's how you want it. You don't want it too watery, but you do want it to be moist. So I'm putting it inside of the bag. Try to scrape it as best as I can. Okay, so I got the majority of it. And again, a Ziploc bag would be the best. Okay, so I have it inside of the bag. What I want to do now, I want to take the bag, I want to lay it flat. And once I have it flat, I'm going to start moving it with my hand. I'm moving it with my hand. I'm taking one corner, and then I'm starting to move it to the other side. I will move it up and move it to the left, move it to the right. I can get it so that it is covering every area. Every place is covered. So notice what I have. Notice what I have. It is covering all of the area. So what I will do now is that I will take some scissors and I'm going to cut the edges. Cut the edges. And you're going to see why I'm going to do that. So at the bottom, I'm going to cut a very thin strip. Okay. Now I'm going to cut the top at an area in which all of it is covered with the charcoal. Okay, so that part is out. Now we have this. We still have two sides that we need to cut. So I'm going to cut one side. Can you tell them that if they can stop making noises or talk as if they can be as quiet as possible for the recording? All right, so that side is now cut. Now I'm going to cut the other side. Perfect. So now all of the sides have been cut. Why did I do that? Because we want to remove the top layer. So the top layer can be removed. I have just, man, this is messy. I have just removed the top layer. The top layer has been removed. And so now what I have is this. We have our charcoal poultice. Now it needs to be applied. So let me have my assistant Billy. He's going to come back and I will show you how we will apply it to him. We will apply it on his arm, since that's the most prominent part. And I think he's wearing short sleeves, so it shouldn't be a problem. So let's apply it to Billy. Okay, so we have our assistant Billy here with us. So we're going to apply the poultice that we just made on his arm. Let me try to take this out. I had to go and wash my hands because this is very dirty and I didn't want to touch this ace bandage with the charcoal on my fingers. So I'm going to have Billy put his arm here. There we go. And what I'm going to do is to go ahead and wrap it. Matter of fact, pick this part up just a little bit. I'm going to fold this underneath. I'm going to fold this underneath. Go ahead and put your arm down. And then from there, we can wrap it. So put your arm just a little bit. Very good. Why are we using this plastic? We're using it because we want to maintain the moisture. I'll probably have to put the whole thing. Probably I could have made the poultice a little bit drier, but you can experiment with it and determine what works best for you. And of course, if the area is smaller, you can make it smaller. If it's bigger, you can make it bigger, etc. But again, this is great for inflammation. If you have an insect bite, you have a sting, a poisonous serpent bites you as it did me, as I told you the story, make sure you use this. And so again, you would finish, you would tuck it in, and you can have the clips, or if you don't, you can just tuck it in, and you can leave it on there for several hours. If you're going to bed, you can keep it on all during the night. So that is a basic demonstration of how you can make a charcoal poultice. Again, it's better for it to be, of course, it needs to be moist, but don't make it too moist. It's better that it's moist, but a little bit drier. Then definitely do not make it drippy because that would create a mess. So the drier it is, while maintaining its moisture, is the best. And make sure the plastic covers all of it so that the moisture is maintained so that it would last longer. And again, you can sleep with this bandage on all during the night without any problems. So that's our charcoal poultice demonstration. All right, so the next thing that we will do is a potato poultice, and this can be used for inflammation as well. Activated charcoal can be used for inflammation. We talked about that. Potato poultice can also be used for inflammation as well. And there are at least two ways in which you can prepare it. Number one, you can boil the potato, or you boil several potatoes, depending on how large the side is to which you want to apply the poultice, or you can shred it. And so what we're going, of course, I didn't boil this, but you can go ahead and boil it, and then you can use an instrument in order to smash it just like you would if you were making mashed potatoes. You would smash it, and it's pretty much will be mashed potatoes, and then you would apply it to a poultice. Just like this, you can apply it to a cloth. This is an old shirt that I'm using. I just cut it up, and you can easily just put it inside and then fold the other piece over, and then you can use that as a poultice. You can do that, or if another option, you can apply it directly to the skin. It's up to you. If there's any cuts on the skin, it'll probably be best if you use a cloth just like this cover it above, cover it below, and then apply it. But we're going to go ahead and use this shredder, and we're going to shred the potato. And again, this is for inflammation. So about half is finished. Okay, we have the last part. I'll just turn it so that it's easier, so I can do it without cutting my fingers. And there we have it. We have shredded a potato. It didn't take us too long. Let's get as much of it out as we possibly can. Now we're going to do the same thing that we did for the activated charcoal, except this time we are going to use this cloth that, again, I got it from a shirt, old shirt that I cut up. So let's say the area is not too big. What we have here should be more than enough. I'll remove some, and I will fold, I'll make it flat. I'll fold the edges. And now I will fold it this way. We're going to have our good friend Billy come and have a seat. And we're going to have him, let's say, if he puts his arm here, say that Billy has some inflammation on his arm that he needs to take care of. So we're going to put this on top of his arm. And again, we are going to take some plastic and I'm going to fold it. It doesn't need to be as big as it is without folding. So I'm going to wrap it around just like we did with the other one. And again, this is necessary in order to maintain the moisture. And as I said before, if it is heated, it will attract more blood into that area. So if you want to heat up, like put some of this shredded potato inside of a skillet and put it on the fire and heat it up some, you can do that. Of course, make sure when you apply it to the individual that it's not hot so that you burn them. I'll have you pick that up. And just like we did with the other, we will begin to wrap with the ACE bandage. This will keep it in place and pull the plastic nice and tight so that it will help to maintain the moisture. It's sliding off a little bit, but that's fine. I didn't roll the ACE bandage, so it's a little bit more difficult, but that's fine. Just take a little bit more time. Just nice, that's fine. Is it too tight?
No, it's fine.
Okay, good. All right, and there we go. We have our potato poultice. You can tuck this in, maintain it for a couple hours, or if you want to go to sleep, you can do that as well. So here we have a potato poultice. Pretty much, you can use it in the very same types of usages as you would use the activated charcoal. So again, this is potato poultice, very good for inflammation. We're going to continue with another type of poultice. So let us set that up and we will be right back. All right, so the next poultice that we will do is used for inflammation as well. And this is the use of a onion. And so some of you may have done this before, but you can make a onion poultice in the very same way that you did the charcoal poultice and also the potato poultice. But we will not be mixing it with water. We will not be shredding it. We would just be cutting it up into small pieces. And so you can just do like many of you have already done many times before, cutting up an onion, removing the skin. It's different layers. Almost there. There we are. So we have our onion without the skin. And then we go ahead and chop it. I'm going to try to chop it into smaller pieces. That way the poultice will be more flexible. All right. This knife is not the sharpest, but that's fine. It may be best for my fingers, just in case I mess up. Very good. So we have enough. And we're going to do the very same thing that we did before. We are going to have, I'm going to use the very same cloth that we used before. It's still usable. And of course, after you finish using it, you could just go ahead and wash it. You can use it again. This may be more effective since you have the juice from the potato in here, and now you're putting the onion. So it may have even greater of an effect since you have a mix of the two. My eyes are starting to sting because of this onion. So I'll just put some of this in here, and we're gonna lay it flat just like we did with the potato. We're gonna fold it just like we did before. Make sure everything stays in. And there we have it. We have our, oops, something's coming out. There we go. So we're gonna have our good friend, Billy, come. And we're gonna apply it the very same way. We have our plastic here. Let's do it from beneath. So the part that's only folded over once, we want sticking up because this is the part that's going to be on his arm. So if you lift your arm, you can put it there. Very good. I'm going to fold the plastic so that we don't have too much overlap. There we go. Just like we did last time. Okay, have that there, and we will get our ACE bandage. Put this beneath. One other thing, if you have plastic wrap that they use for cooking food, that would help because it would cling. So you won't have some of the struggles that I'm having. You can do it with any type, but again, plastic wrap that sticks would function better. So we're just going and wrapping it around. And actually, I have a shorter ACE bandage, which probably would have been better since this is a smaller area, but we have the long one, that's fine. You could do it with both. All right, just wrap up the end, and we'll come back down. Again, it's not too tight. You don't want to cut off the circulation. There we go. There we have our onion poultice. And again, this works good for inflammation. Something else that you can do is that you can use an onion and you can apply it for ear aches. Sometimes children have ear aches. And so what you can do is that you can take an onion and you can cut maybe 1/2 inch to a 1/4 inch slice like this. And some say if you bake it in the oven at a very low heat for maybe 10 to 15 minutes, this will help it to be nice and soft, help to extract some of the beneficial substances also. Give it a time. Once you take one out of the oven, give it some time so that some of the heat can dissipate. But once you are able to, you can apply it to the person's ear. And so we're going to try that with Billy. And I also have a cap here. They say you can try to use a cap. If you can hold it with your hand. Let's put a cap on Billy. Let's see if this would help to maintain it in place. Does that work, Billy? Yeah. It does. All right. You can either do that, or you can hold it in place. You can do the very same thing that we did before, but we're going to fold this plastic and try to use an ace bandage. This, if you hold it in place for me, this may be a little bit more difficult. So let's try it out. You can let it go. Or, well, yeah, hold it. Thank you, Billy. You may look a little crazy, but hopefully do it inside of your home. Don't go out of doors if you're wearing one of these. I wouldn't recommend it. People probably wouldn't understand. Very good. And notice for this one, we applied the onion directly to the ear. That is more beneficial than having a cloth in between. But again, if there is any scarring on the ear or cuts and so forth, you can also use the towel in between. But this is something else that can be done. Another thing that can be done, you can apply cuts of onion just like this to the feet. If someone has a cold but especially cough, you can apply it to the bottom of the feet. They say that the pores at the bottom of the feet are bigger than the pores in other parts of the body. So you can apply a cut of onion just like this, 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch, directly to the foot. Wrap it up as we have, using the plastic first and then the ace bandage. And then after you do that, putting a sock on the foot to help to hold it in place. They say that this really helps for colds especially. So that's another option that you have. All right, so the next demonstration that we will give is of another poultice that again is used for inflammation. And I probably like this more than the previous ones because of the fact that it is quick, easy, and it is clean. And for this one, we will be using cabbage. So here I have a head of cabbage, and all you need to do is to take some of the leaves, and I'll take some of them. Some are smaller. I'll try to get some of the bigger ones. Strip off some of the external ones. So we have a couple here. Because we have so much cabbage, and I bought this specifically for this purpose, go ahead and put these leaves here. All right, so we have our cabbage leaves. And what we need to do is to make them nice and pliable and flexible, nice, soft and flexible. All right, so one thing that you can do, you can take your hand and just keep folding it, wringing it out, so forth, doing it like that. You can also boil it in water for 1 minute. If you have water that's boiling, put it into the water for 1 minute, then take it out. Of course, it'll be nice and soft. It of course, would add heat to it. If it is heated, Once you apply it to the skin, make sure it's not too hot. You do not want to burn the individual. And another way that you can do it is using a rolling pin, just like you would use to make dough or to make bread or to smooth out the mass, the dough for bread before you form it. And so I like to use this. So what I would do is just pass over it several times. You could take it. If you're standing up, of course, you could put more pressure, but because of the recording, I'll just remain seated. But you can still put a sufficient amount of pressure on it as well, just using your arms and shoulders. So I'm going to pass over this several times. Another thing that you can do is to take it, turn it over, and to work on the other side. Pass over, smash, roll the other side. Move it down more. Make sure it's nice and flat. Put this over that. You can also put all three on top of each other. Do it more. The more you roll over it, you're going to experience and hear less crunching. So probably at the beginning, you heard more crunching than you do now. You hardly hear any crunching. That's because I passed over it several times. Let's change the direction. Again, passing it over it several times. Let's turn it over like that. Upside, pass over it again. And as you can imagine, these leaves are becoming more and more flexible. And like I said, it's nice and clean. You don't have to worry about it staining you or anything like that, especially as we saw with the activated charcoal. So notice it is nice and flexible now. If you want to, you can add a little bit more flexibility. Let's just roll it up. Roll it. Take it out, roll it the other way. If you had a meat tenderizer, you could beat it like that as well. Whatever you decide to do, but you want it nice, soft, and flexible. Notice it's hard to get any of that crunching now as opposed to before. And from there, you can apply it directly to the skin. You don't have to worry about putting a cloth in between. You can take it, you have inflammation, what have you. Again, our arm is very accessible. You can put it on just like this, put it on your leg. If you have a sprained ankle, if you're exercising or you're doing anything of that type and your ankle rolled, you could put it on your ankle very easily. And because it's very flexible, it can easily adapt to the shape of your arm, of your leg, of your stomach, of your head, of your neck, wherever, of your chest. And then you just do the very same thing. You would put plastic on in order to keep the moisture, retain the moisture, and then you would use an ace bandage in order to keep it in place. And again, you can use it all during the night. Put it on before you go to bed, sleep all during the night, wake up in the morning, remove it, wash the area, so forth, so on. And again, it works very good for inflammation, and I really like it again because it's nice, flexible, easy to do, easy to prepare, and it's clean as well. All right, so this is using cabbage, and this is something I'm pretty sure that is readily available for you there in the Netherlands. All right, something else that can be done is to create a poultice using soap and white sugar. Soap and white sugar. You may ask, why would someone want to mix soap and white sugar? Well, this actually works well for boils, abscesses, and also to remove splinters. And so we have a piece of white soap or a bar of white soap here, and I also have white granulated sugar in this bag. And so if the area is not big, you shouldn't need too much. And so I'm going to take a knife, I'm going to scrape the top. The bar of soap, that's a pretty good amount. You can cover a decent area with this. And so I have that. And I'm going to take pretty much the same amount of white sugar and I'm going to sprinkle it on top. You have some noise in the background. The Pathfinder meeting is still going forward. You have some children there, so I apologize for that. So I will scrape it together and then I would mix it. I will smash it, mix it together with a fork. And here we have a paste. And it is mixed together, the soap along with the sugar. Very easily, you can go and apply it to the area. A lot of times splinters are in the hand and the finger, so forth. You can apply it to that area, or the boil may be on the arm or wherever on the chest. The process is the same. You can apply it directly to the skin if there are no cuts or if there are no abrasions, so forth. You can apply it directly to the skin, covering it with the plastic. Of course, the plastic would help to maintain the moisture. And then from there, using an ace bandage in order to keep the plastic in place. So again, for this one, it's good for boils, abscesses, and also for removing splinters. And one more thing that just popped into my mind as it relates to the cabbage is that for women who are breastfeeding, who have sensitive breasts because of breastfeeding and so forth, they can also take a piece of cabbage leaf or entire cabbage leaf and they can put it inside of their bra. And of course, this will press against the breast and help to remove the inflammation that came as a result of them nursing their children. So again, this is another option. All right, what is a decoction? And like we did for poultices, I'm going to give you 3 definitions to help us get a pretty good idea of what it is and what it entails. A decoction from the Oxford Languages Dictionary, it says it is an extract. This is actually the verb. It's not decoction, which is a noun, but decoct, which is a verb. To extract the essence from something by heating or boiling it. Extracting the substance by heating or boiling. From the Cambridge Dictionary, it says the following: to boil something in order to obtain its flavor. And the last one from the Merriam-Webster Dictionary: to extract the flavor of by boiling, boil down, and also to concentrate. And also, decoctions usually use the hard part of plants, roots, barks, berries, or or barks, and are simmered over a fire. So the harder part of a plant is used for this. Now, a decoction is different from an infusion. In infusion, you normally, or you are not using the harder part of a plant, but you would normally use a herb in its beaten down or in its powdered form. So infusions usually use flowers, leaves, and soft stems and are steeped in hot water. So you probably have done this before, in which you would have a jar, you would put some herbs in there, maybe in a very fine form, powder, so forth. And you would put whatever herbs you want in there, and then you would take hot water and then you would pour it on there, and then you would put the cap back on and you would give it time in order to cool down before you start drinking it throughout the day. That's an infusion. But when we are talking about a decoction, again, you're using harder parts of the plant and you are boiling it. And so normally you would put some water, put the harder part in there, and then you would boil for a certain amount of time, as we see here. For decoctions, put the dried herb in a small pot and add cold water. Boil it. Once the water comes to a boil, you begin to simmer it. And so you cut the fire down to its lowest point, or one of the lower points, and you would keep it there for 20 to 30 minutes. And then, while during that time, of course, it is extracting the beneficial elements from that part of the plant. Give it time to cool down, and then you would strain it into a glass jar or into some type of container, and it could be stored for up to 3 days, 72 hours. If it is too strong, the taste, of course, you can add more water. It's normally going to be in a concentrated form, so add water. You can also add lemon or honey in order to help it to be more palatable for you. And you can also take the herbal part and break it up into smaller parts. You can use a hammer, or you can also use a pestle and mortar to break it up. The pestle and mortar, it is shown there in the picture. All right. And so what I did, I used some things that are more readily available to me here in Honduras, in the particular place of area of Honduras that I am located. And so I took garlic, I took ginger, which I have here, and then I also took pieces of cinnamon. And I put those into this pot, and then I boiled it. I brought the water to a boil, and then I simmered it for 25 to 30 minutes. Again, I did not use a lot of water because that is not necessary, and I think that's just going to prolong the process, but I did use enough water for the extraction. And I'm not sure how well you can see it. You can see the different parts in there. Let me try to, you can see the juice in there. And so, as we said, we're going to strain it. So I'm going to take, we have a strainer here, we have a water bottle that helps to keep the warmth or the coldness of whatever is poured into it. And I can go ahead and I can strain it. Hopefully I don't make a mess. The mouth of it is not the biggest. Let's press it down. And very good. You may say that's not a lot, but really you don't need a lot because it's very concentrated. And so once you have poured it in, then of course you can go ahead and add more water to it, so forth. And throughout the day, you can go ahead and drink it. And of course, it depends upon the different type of illness that you have, whether it's chronic or acute. You can decide the type of plant part that you want to use based upon its beneficial properties, which will help you in whatever illness that you have. And so this is a demonstration of what a decoction is all about. So I'm hoping that you have learned something about poultices and decoctions from these demonstrations. If you have not used them but before, if you are sick or know of someone, of course, you can go ahead and share this information and put these things into practice. May the Lord continue to bless and to keep you. And please keep us in your prayers here at Vida International in Honduras. Take care and God bless.